Michael Jackson is undoubtedly one of the greatest artists of all time. With timeless classics up under his belt like Beat It, Smooth Criminal, Bad, Thriller, and Billie Jean, I think it's really safe enough to call this talented man a legend and an all-time GOAT. However, with great fame comes a whole bunch of controversy, with Michael Jackson being a prime example of being controversial. In this video, I'll be going over a few examples of times that Michael Jackson have gotten into beef with some other celebrity. I hope you enjoy. The first beef that we will be starting off with is the beef that Michael Jackson had with legendary artist named Prince. Now, this beef wasn't really a beef, so to say, but however, just more of a rivalry. But I decided to still talk about this because, hey, why not? Anyway, Michael and Prince's relationship goes all the way back in the mid to late 70s, where Prince would release his debut studio album titled For You in 1978, with Michael Jackson coming out with his debut studio album Off the Wall a year later in 1979. Now, because Michael was already way more popular than Prince at the time because of being part of the classic group The Jacksons, it was safe to say that the album was going to do way more numbers than Prince's debut album For You. Now, because of the similarities between the two, such as they produced the same type of music and they came out around the same time, fans would start drawing comparisons to the two. However, the beef didn't initially start until August 20 of 1983. On this day, the legendary Godfather of Soul, aka James Brown, was doing a concert at the Beverly Theater with also legendary guitarist B.B. King. With this already being legendary enough, this night in particular would be even more legendary when the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson, would attend the concert as a surprise guest in the audience. After when James Brown would gladly welcome Michael onto the stage, Mike would whisper in James Brown's ear that Prince was actually in the audience as well and should make him come up and perform as well. After this, Prince would start playing one of the band members' guitars. However, while playing, Prince would make a discovery that the guitar that was given to him was in fact a malfunctioning guitar. Because of this discovery, Prince would then stop playing the guitar and start doing pretty bizarre and wicked dance moves, to say the least. After the awkwardness on stage and the crowd booing, Prince would finally decide that it was time to leave the stage. However, just not without a very embarrassing walk-off. It is said that Mike seen the whole thing and was laughing his butt off. Supposedly after the concert was done and over with, Mike would go out to his car and supposedly while walking across the street, Prince tried to run him over with the car. However, this has not been confirmed. After this, Prince would go on to release his biggest acclaimed album yet, titled Purple Rain, in 1984, which would make Prince a superstar and a higher up in the music industry. This is when the fans started to make comparisons of the two and the rivalry between the two began. However, even though the two themselves never came out and said they had any beef going on, there has been multiple occasions that have made people wonder. Like for example, in 1985, when Michael Jackson and other huge celebrities would record a track titled We Are the World to raise money for charity, because of the circumstances around this, legendary artist Lionel Richie would invite Prince to do vocals for the record. However, things would turn sour when Prince would decline the offer and supposedly said that the song was terrible.
He was at Carlos and Charlie's, true story, and I kept calling. I was not going to let it go. And I said, let me try one more time. Prince, we need you down here. He says, can I have a separate room to record in? Because you know Prince.
Yeah,
and I said,
that's not how it was.
I can't give you a separate room. And then I made the worst mistake. I said, listen, I'll put you right next to Michael.
Oh. And he didn't want to be next to Michael?
Done.
Oh.
Done. So, no, I said, Prince, are you there?
Another encounter would be in 1986, when Michael Jackson would call up Prince to discuss a possible collaboration between the two, with that song being titled Bad. It seemed that Prince was on go with the collaboration at first, however things would come crumbling down after Prince would hear the first line of the song stating, quote, "Your butt is mine." After this, the two would meet again in 1988, when Michael Jackson and Prince would link up backstage on a Bad tour, and would later go on to go to Paisley Park to talk privately. The two would try to link more and discuss ideas of an amazing collaboration, however nothing would ever materialize. In 2007, Michael Jackson and Chris Tucker would go to see Prince and will.i.am perform in Vegas. However, during the performance, Prince would go up to Mike and start playing the bass in his face.
To make a long story short, Prince steps off the stage and plays the bass in Michael Jackson's face. Just rips the freaking bass in 10 different pieces. Make a longer story shorter, Michael Jackson leaves and goes home and says, meet me in the house for breakfast. So I go to his house for breakfast, knock on the door. First words he says, why was Prince playing the bass in my face? No, Prince, he's just being nice, you know? No, Prince, he's always been a meanie.
In early 2009, Mike would call up Prince to possibly do a collaboration between the two for a Michael Jackson comeback and for his tour, This Is It. However, Prince would quickly decline the offer. After Michael's passing in June of 2009, Prince would start having a different outlook and a different understanding on his relationship with Michael. However, even though with all of these incidents, it would seem that Prince and Michael Jackson were always on good terms, and perhaps that it was simply just the fans that were putting a split between the two of each other. Although Prince and Michael beef was not really a beef at all and was sort of just a cool rivalry, one that definitely was a beef was with legendary artist Eminem. This beef will start in 2004 when Eminem would release the track titled Just Lose It, which in the music video of the track depicts Michael Jackson's hair getting caught on fire, which was a reference to what happened to Mike in 1984 while filming a Pepsi commercial. Him losing his nose due to all the plastic surgery he has had, and the most damaging being Eminem depicting of Michael Jackson doing some weird stuff with kids, which was in reference to a 2003 when Michael was accused of things I cannot discuss on YouTube, but just know it had something to do with kids. A week later in October 2004, Michael would go on to the Steve Harvey radio show and respond to Eminem track and say, quote, I am very angry at Eminem's depiction of me in his video. I feel that it is outrageous and disrespectful. It is one thing to spoof, but it's another to be demeaning and insensitive. I have admired Eminem as an artist and was shocked by this. The video was inappropriate and was disrespectful to me, my children, my family, and the community at large. He would then say that he wanted all music stations like VH1 and BET to not play the video. However, the only music station that would comply to his demandings was BET. After this, Mike stated that he was planning on suing Eminem. However, he would never go on and actually go through it. On November 11, 2004, only a day before Eminem's release date for his album Encore, which had the track in question included on there, Michael Jackson fans would storm around the MTV TRL building, attempting to boycott the release of Eminem's new album. And because of this, Michael would call into the news station and express how appreciative he was at his fans for supporting him during this hard time in his life.
Geraldo, it's because of my fans that I'm calling you today. I mean, I feel they're the best fans in the world, and I decided, rather than have anyone else speak for me, that I would do it myself, you know. And I want to thank my fans for their strong support over the years. They could have been anywhere today, you know, and they chose to be in New York on Times Square. And I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. They have written thousands and thousands of letters and have made hundreds of calls regarding the Eminem video. And I love them so, so much. In London, over 4,000 people showed up on my behalf. And I want to thank Reverend Jesse Jackson, Reverend Al Sharpton, Minister Farrakhan, The Source, Steve Harvey, Bob Johnson and BET, Kathy Hughes and Radio 1, and all the many others who have supported me. And Geraldo, I want to also thank you for your friendship and everything, all the wonderful things you've been doing. Thank you so, so much. And I'm always working on wonderful music, and I've been working on several albums right now. I've been working on music today. I'm working on something as we speak, Geraldo, and I'm in the process of making plans to do some other wonderful things that I'll be announcing to the fans very, very soon. And I look forward to that, Geraldo, you know? And I'll give you a call, too, soon.
I bet you do. I bet you do. Okay.
I love my fans. I love you, and thank you so much for being there on my behalf. And thank you, Geraldo, again. Thank you so, so much.
Okay, Michael, thank you. Thank you a lot. Michael Jackson, everybody.
Eminem would then do an interview responding to Michael Jackson saying that he was a fan of Michael Jackson and that the music video was all in good fun and not supposed to be taken seriously. After this, in January of 2005, Michael would do a sit-down interview with Geraldo Rivera, where the conversation of Eminem would be brought up. This is what Mike had to say about him in this particular interview.
Then there's a beautiful side to mankind too, isn't it?
But not to Eminem. We've spoken about it. I think that you should. Why not?
Speak about what?
About Eminem and this disrespect that he showed you. Stevie Wonder said that he was piling on and how really rude it was for someone who made his money from the community, as Eminem has, to now diss the community in a sense, and a racist, and I've said it, very bold-faced, bigoted kind of presentation. Tell us how that hurt you and how you're feeling about it now.
I've never met Mr. Eminem, and to have him, I've always admired him, and to have him do something like that was pretty painful as an artist to another artist. And it's sad because, well, I think what Stevie Wonder said is true. And I just don't want to say too much more than that. But he should be ashamed of himself, what he's doing. Stevie said he's bull***, is what he said.
Stevie did, and
he used the word.
He is bull***.
That's what he said. I mean, I'm not saying it was Stevie said it. And Stevie he's amazing. He's one of the sweetest men in the world. You know.
So when Stevie said that, did you feel a tremendous sense of a reassurance of brotherly love there?
Yes, I love Stevie Wonder. To me, he's a musical prophet, and I always love him. But a lot of people respect Stevie, and he's a very strong entity in this medium, in this business. And when he speaks, people listen. And it was wrong of Eminem to do what he did. I've been an artist most of my life doing what I do, and I've never attacked another fellow artist. Great artists don't do that. You know, you don't have to do that.
I mentioned Janet's, fiasco and the exaggerated response to it. Once again, do you think he only did it because he knew he could get away with it because you're Michael Jackson?
Yeah, but it doesn't hurt, really. It's silly. It's kind of elementary, but I hope he's having fun.
It's like a poo-poo joke.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it still hurts your feelings, and you don't want your kids to see it.
Oh, God, I would hate it if they saw it. I would hate that.
Do you want them to know that?
To know about it? No.
Yeah.
After this, nothing else was said between the two publicly. However, the beef wouldn't stop there though, because in May of 2007, Michael Jackson would purchase the publishing company Famous Music for $370 million, which Famous Music also owns some of Eminem's back catalog, which also contains some of Eminem's biggest hits such as Without Me and The Real Slim Shady. However, the beef will finally come to an end in a very unfortunate circumstances, because on June 25th, 2009, Michael would pass away. In a written interview with Complex Magazine in December of 2009, Eminem would talk about Michael Jackson passing and reflecting on how his battle with addiction was very similar to his addiction. Even though this situation ended in Michael buying some of Eminem's back catalog, he is not the only person that can say this happened to. Another person that Michael Jackson did the exact same thing to was Paul McCartney. Prior to the beef, Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney had a very long and extensive friendship that started all the way back in 1981, where Michael would call up Paul McCartney asking him if he wanted to make some music together. After this, Michael would visit Paul McCartney at his home with his wife and kids and just spend time there getting to know each other to spark a friendly relationship. After this, the two would record 3 songs with the tracks being titled The Girl Is Mine, Say Say Say, and The Man, which were all recorded in the process from 1981 to 1983. After the release of the tracks, Michael and Paul McCartney would still remain strong after the two were seen at the Brit Awards in February of 1983. In October of 1983, Michael and Paul would film the music video for one of their collaborations titled Say Say Say. The friendship was going well, with the two being great friends and hanging out all the time, and was considering going back into the studio again to record some more duets with the two. However, things would turn sour between the two because in August of 1985, Michael Jackson would buy the Beatles' publishing rights to the majority of the Beatles' catalog for $47 million. After this, Michael Jackson would negotiate with Paul McCartney with publishing rights and royalty rates from 1987 to 1990. In 1990, Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney would reunite after years being out of the public eye with each other to essentially stop the rumors of the two being on bad terms because of the catalog situation. However, deep inside, Paul was still kind of annoyed and frustrated about Michael doing such a thing to him.
So it was great, but I did talk to him about it, but he kind of blanked me on it. He kept saying, "That's just business, Paul, you know." So I went, "Yeah, it is," and waited for a reply. But we never kind of got to it, and I thought, so we kind of drifted apart. It was no big bust-up.
Yeah.
We kind of drifted apart after that.
Okay.
But he was a lovely man, massively talented, and we miss him.
After this, the two was never seen in the public eye ever again, and ever since then, Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson's friendship was never the same and went downhill from there. After Michael's passing in June of 2009, Paul had nothing but great things to say about Michael and would reminisce about all the times that he spent with him. After Michael's passing, a rumor spread that Michael supposedly put in his will that Paul McCartney would get the publishing rights of the Beatles' back catalog. However, that claim was quickly debunked and was proven false. From what I can tell, it seems that Michael's estate still owns the catalog to this day, with Paul McCartney seemingly to just be over the whole thing now. Although Michael and Paul never really hated each other, the same cannot be said about legendary pop singer Madonna. Michael Jackson and Madonna would first meet back in August of 1984, backstage at the Madison Square Garden on the Jackson's 5 Victory Tour. Madonna actually came to the show as just a fan and not as somebody that was already really good friends with the Jacksons. It is said that after they hung out, they became good friends and kept in contact for a long time. It wasn't until years later in 1991 when the two started to get really close. In March of 1991, Madonna would be asked to perform her song titled Sooner or Later at the 1991 Oscars, and she accepted the offer. While setting up for the performance, Madonna would call Michael, and while talking about things, she realized at the last second she didn't have a date, and that's when an idea of Michael becoming her date for the show was materialized.
I was like, well, who are you going to go with? And I looked at him and I said, I don't know, you want to go? And he said, yeah, that'd be great.
The King of Pop and the Queen of Pop being seen together was really the conversation of the night, with it being one of the most, if not the most popular thing that happened at the Oscars that year. After the Oscars, their date night did not stop there, however, with the couple hopping in the car and driving to a fancy restaurant to sit down and have dinner together. After that night, the pair would be seen hanging out more, which led to the rumor that maybe the two were an item. However, this was later disproven, as besides just a date at the 1991 Oscars, the two never dated and was just good friends. However, the reasoning because of that is most likely because of all the drama that surfaced between the two that was later revealed by Michael himself years later in his private tape recordings in 2000 to 2001 by his spiritual guide at the time. In these recordings, you can hear that Michael and Madonna bumped heads a lot, and also Michael not liking her attitude she had.
They admire you and know you're wonderful and great, but they're jealous because they wish they were in your place, wish they were in your shoes. And M is one of them. Madonna. She's not a nice. She hasn't been kind. Absolutely. She's a woman, and I think that's what bothers her. Women don't screen for other women, and men are too cool to screen for women. Yeah. And I get that. I get the fainting and the adulation and the notoriety that she doesn't. She can't get that.
Like a library book of women who are tied to walls. So I love fainty books. Well, I want to see that. I think she likes shock value. Madonna laid the law down when we went out. I am not going to Disneyland. Okay, that's out. I didn't ask you to go to We're going to the restaurant. Afterwards, we're going to a strip bar. I am not going to a strip bar where they cross guys or girls. I am not going there. Just afterwards, she wrote some mean things about me and the friends, and I said that she's a nasty witch.
You know, after I was so kind to her. I mean, when I told you we were at the table eating, and some little kids came up. Oh my God, Michael Jackson and Madonna. Can we have your autograph? And she was, get out of here, leave us alone. I said, don't you ever talk to children like that. She said, shut up. I said, you shut up. That's how we went. Yeah, that's what I said. But then we went out again, and then we went to the Academy Awards, and she's not a nice one.
And after that, it seemed that the two simply just parted ways, with Michael having a bad taste in his mouth about her. After Michael's passing in June of 2009, Madonna would do a tribute to Michael honoring his legacy and reminiscing about the time she had with Michael. Though the two didn't really get along, the two had their moments and supposedly made amends in the early 2000s after her even defending Michael in a 2003 interview after the Living with Michael Jackson documentary with Martin Bashir, which sought to put Michael Jackson in a very negative light.
Did you see the documentary?
I didn't. I heard about it. Everybody was talking about it at one point and describing scenes to me. It just sounds horrifying. I wouldn't want to watch it.
Horrifying in what way?
Oh, it just sounds so exploitive. So, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like people humiliating other people like that. It doesn't seem right and fair.
You said this, publicly humiliating someone for your own gain, which is, I think, what you feel Martin Bashir may have done, will only come back to haunt you. I can assure you, all these people will be sorry. God's going to have his revenge.
I'm happy that the two was able to squash their beef before Michael passed away. It really shows the matureness of everyone and how troubled friendships can be solved without very intense things needing to happen. But with that being said, that's the end of this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on post notifications to be a part of the gang. Thank you so much for watching. It's Beneath the Wild. I'm signing out, and until next time, peace.